A 2.8 trillion parameter AI model just dropped literally out of nowhere. And less than 24 hours later, Google launched the most critical architectural rebuild in its entire history. The global AI race didn't just speed up, it completely exploded. In this explainer, we're skipping the fluff. We are breaking down the exact, verified details of this massive July 2026 showdown, what just happened, how we know it, and if it actually matters to your workflow.
To really get the stakes here, you have to look at this breathless sequence of events. On July 16, 2026, official company docs show Moonshot AI releasing Kimi K3 to the world. Then, just one day later, on July 17th, Build Fast with AI reports Google declaring Gemini Day. Look, this wasn't a coincidence. This was a calculated collision. The AI industry is essentially watching two massive ships ram into each other at full speed.
So here's the actual conflict. On one side, you've got Google's Gemini 3.5 Pro, a massive, centralized, make-or-break architectural rebuild. And on the other, Moonshot AI's Kimi K3, a monstrous 2.8 trillion parameter open-weight model launching a direct assault on the US frontier lead. We're looking at two entirely different philosophies of technology fighting for dominance.
Google has been under intense pressure lately, and this is not just some routine patch. So why do a full rebuild? Well, verified industry briefings show that just throwing more parameters at a model wasn't solving its structural flaws. Gemini 3.5 Pro specifically targets core hallucination issues. It vastly improves agent reliability, and it fixes multi-step reasoning. Crucially, it enables deep integration directly into Android and Google Workspace. They're building an engine where the AI doesn't just talk to you, it actually does things. Let's look at a concrete, verified example of what this high-level goal execution looks like in a real enterprise setting. Step 1. The agent analyzes a dense Q2 financial report. Step 2. It cross-references that data with 3 competitor filings. And Step 3. It autonomously drafts the final presentation. You aren't micromanaging prompts anymore, you just assign a task, and the rebuilt Gemini handles the entire orchestration.
Now, right as Google was deading the house on that agentic reliability, Moonshot AI executed a massive counter-offensive. 2.8 trillion. That is the sheer scale of Kimi K3, confirmed by Ken Huang's technical analysis. You really need to understand that a 2.8 trillion parameter model is not a lightweight experimental tool. It operates in the exact same stratosphere as the most heavily funded, advanced closed frontier models on Earth.
But the crucial point is how this model is distributed. Kimi K3 utilizes an open-weight, sparse mixture of experts architecture. Let's demystify that jargon for a second. Open-weight means developers can literally download the actual neural network weights. You can run this beast on your own local or cloud infrastructure. You aren't forced to pay a per-token API fee to a Silicon Valley monopoly. This is a direct macroeconomic threat to the giants' established business models.
And if you're sitting there wondering, can an open-weight model actually compete on performance? The answer is a definitive yes. Kimi K3 just scored a verified 57 on the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index. That number proves open source is no longer just a cheap alternative for hobbyists. It is a top-tier competitor, matching the capabilities of the closed giants head-on.
Beyond parameters and index scores, there is a specific technical capability that developers are completely obsessed with right now. A 1 million token context window sounds kind of abstract, so let's ground it in a metric you can actually visualize. It translates to roughly 750,000 words held in the model's active immediate memory at one single time.
So what actually fits into 750,000 words? Well, you can drop an entire massive enterprise code base into the prompt and just ask it to find one obscure bug. You can load every single legal precedent and case file for a major lawsuit to draft a summary. You can feed it hours of high-resolution video transcripts, dense medical records, and raw sensor data all simultaneously. This is a fundamental paradigm shift in how we build AI applications. The practical technical impact here, it basically eliminates the need for complex retrieval augmented generation, or RAG pipelines, for a vast number of tasks. The AI doesn't have to go out and search a vector database for the relevant data because the data is already sitting right there in its active memory. It makes building complex AI apps faster, cheaper, and vastly more accurate. So we have two massive technological leaps happening within 24 hours, representing a fierce macroeconomic war. We are looking at two competing business models fighting for dominance in 2026. On the closed API side, favored by Google, you've got a highly controlled, deeply integrated stack where you pay premium API fees. On the open-weight side, pushed by Moonshot, you have public access, the ability to use local infrastructure, and a massive push to become the default global standard.
Which answers the most obvious question: why would Moonshot AI spend millions training a 2.8 trillion parameter model just to give it away for free? Because the real money in 2026 isn't in selling the model itself. The money is in selling the massive compute required to run it, providing premium enterprise support, and offering custom fine-tuning services. They're giving away the razor to sell the blades, directly undercutting their closed competitors.
Let's bring all these massive numbers, technical shifts, and economic wars down to earth. Here is the 2026 reality check based on the verified data. For developers, your value is actively shifting away from writing boilerplate code and toward agent orchestration, chaining these massive models together to solve real-world problems. For investors and businesses, the barrier to entry just collapsed. You don't need billions in funding to access a frontier model anymore. You can download Kimi K3 and build on it tomorrow. And for everyday users, get ready for AI to shift from a reactive chatbot to a proactive assistant that can literally hold your entire digital life in its memory.
I want to leave you with this sharp, forward-looking question to consider as this arms race continues. Can closed ecosystems, even ones as powerful and deeply rebuilt as Google's Gemini, continue to justify their massive price tags and API fees when 2.8 trillion parameter frontier models are being given away for free? The economics of the tech world just fractured. Think about how this impacts your own projects, and I'll see you in the next explainer to break down exactly what happens next.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next video.